My top favorite UFC fighters currently. I feel like I'm almost spreading a little bit of hatred. I was talking shit about Cyril Gahn last week. I was shitting on Hamza that one time. I was shitting on Leon Edwards that one time. I shit on a lot of people on this channel, but today we're talking about the people I really like and that I really care about. And, starting the list, let's just start it right now. I don't remember how many fighters are on here. I think maybe 15 or something. Because, a top 10 is kind of hard, so top 15. But, anyway, let's start the list off with Cyril Gahn. I like how I just referenced him in the intro of this video. I said that, I said in my other video that he's kind of, it's kind of hard being a Cyril Gahn fan because of all his antics. I heard what his trainer said, Fernand Lopez, that he wanted to fight Aspinall at 300, but Aspinall apparently wanted a different fight, a bigger fight, like a John Jones fight. But take that with a grain of salt, obviously, from both sides, take it with a grain of salt. But, if two people come out and say Cyril Gahn refused to fight him, and only one person was like, hey, we actually did say we want to fight him. 2-1, come on. Well, I would favor the two other people. Besides that, as I talked about in the other video, the reason why it was hard being a fan of his because you want to hate him, but he's such a chill-ass guy, as I said in my notes. And I don't care what people say. People might say his striking's overrated or that he's not as entertaining, but he's so relaxed in there. Like, when he was fighting Tuivasa, he was just having fun. He almost didn't look like he was in a fight until he got dropped. Even when he was striking with Francis on the feet, he didn't look nervous. This is not an insult, but it could be considered an insult. He looked like a noodle, because, you know how noodles are, so relaxed. He looks relaxed in there, and it's really entertaining to see him just fuck up these guys on the feet. He's not even scared whatsoever. I love Cyril Gahn still, but come on, dude. Fucking fight someone, dude. Anyway, on to the next one is Aljamain Sterling. So this one might be a surprise because I made a video essay on Aljamain Sterling's career. He doesn't break the top 10 because I feel like I need to see more from him. Obviously, I put underrated and disrespected as a champion. I feel like during his title reign at bantamweight, a lot of people hated on him. Understandably, though, a lot of his fights, the Cejudo fight was really close. I don't think it should have been close. It should have been 3-2 or 4-1 in favor of Sterling. I feel like Sterling clearly won it. It wasn't a split. I don't give a fuck what those judges said. The TJ fight wasn't really his fault. If anything, fuck his stupid TJ should have pulled out of the fight. He's even talking about how his shoulder's still giving him problems now. I'm like, holy shit, dude. Your shoulder was beyond fucked. You should have pulled out of the fight. Maybe rehabilitated it. And then, it would have taken a year or 2 years, but I guess that's what happens when you take all those drugs and your fucking body starts deteriorating. The Jan rematch, I feel like, sure, it was boring, but he did, who else can control Jan like that? So, I feel like he has incredible skill sets, but a lot of people just like to hate him because of how he won the belt off of a DQ, which is okay, and that kind of adds into the funny part because he was doing all those memes and stuff where he was just like Aljo's MMA rulebook or something, and then the guy need the ground opponent. That shit's funny. He's fucking funny. I like him. I feel like he's a good guy. He's funny. I feel like I'm gonna say that about a lot of these people on this list, that they're funny, and it's just because I like the funny guys. Imagine some serious guys, because even Islam's kind of funny now and then. But anyway, Aljamain Sterling, number 14, and number 15 is going to be Israel Adesanya. What? Didn't I have him on the hate to love list? I still hate to love him, but he's still kind of in my top 15 favorite fighters. I think he's number 13 because I really want him to come back, and I want to see that Dricus match. I know a lot of people are saying Strickland deserves it. I feel like it's perfect that Adesanya is getting the title match. I feel like there's a nice storyline there. There's going to be some fun back and forth. I feel like Adesanya has that aura. When, oh shit, it's Adesanya fight night kind of shit. Especially now that he's a contender. Because usually when he's a champion, as his record shows, he likes to pitter-patter to a point victory. But whenever he was a contender, with the Pereira match, when he fought Robert Whittaker, he kind of brains it. But when he was a champion, he was willing to coast and just ride to a victory. So I feel like this Adesanya I'm kind of excited for. And his YouTube channel is pretty cool. I've been watching it quite a bit. And also, I'm kind of digging his cringe. The Frozen Like Elsa, that shit's actually fucking funny. If he busted out another cringe shit at the press conference, I would actually laugh. I'd be like, man, this is why I like Adesanya. He always brings the cringe. It's weird because people are like, ugh, cringe, that's disgusting. I don't know. I feel like it makes him almost likable now. Because it's that's Adesanya. It's not an Adesanya press conference if we don't get some cringe, some meme moments, Anyway, on to number 12, I think, is Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now we're getting into... I should have prefaced this in the beginning. What determines my favorite fighter isn't going to be like, oh man, this guy's undefeated. This guy's on he's top 10 pound for pound. He's number 1 pound for pound. Obviously, skill matters, and who is my favorite fighter, because like you want to see really good fighters, and they're entertaining, and they're going to be pushed more by like marketed by the UFC. So obviously, skill set has to do with some of it, but overall personality and like certain little things about them. Like I said, Aljamain Sterling with his memeing his DQ victory, that was funny, and then like that added to it. And also he's skillful, and I feel like he's underrated because people just like to hate on his title reign. So it's a mix of skill and personality and a bunch of other things. But anyway, Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's kind of what Khamzat should have been, and he's undefeated, and he has a 100% finish rate. Pause on that, no Diddy. But anyway, yeah, like homeboy comes in there and he just fucks shit up, and I feel like that's entertaining. At first he started off as like one of those silent killers, like he didn't really talk much, but then he started getting more media, and then he said that thing with what's her name, Laura Sanko, where he was just like, oh, it's always good for a man to be admired by women or something, and then he'd be firing shots on fucking Twitter. He said, like, Jack Della Maddalena's injured, Kamaru Usman doesn't want it, or something like that. He was like, I want the fucking belt. And then Ian Gary was just like, oh, undefeated versus undefeated, me and Shavkat in December. And he was just like, 100% finish rate and 53% finish rate. I feel like we'll know who wins. I'm like, oh, that's heat. And he could back it up because he's that dude. He had a way better fight against fucking Jeff Neal than fucking Ian Gary did. So, yeah, I feel like this is like a perfect example of like a mix of skill, undefeatedness, that aura, and then personality. Because if it was just skill, then I would put like all the top 10 pound for pound or something. And that doesn't, like, most of those guys, I like most of those guys, but some of them you might not find in this list. Like, I don't think Tom Aspinall's in this list, and I know he's in like top 15 pound for pound. I haven't seen much of him. He might be a cool dude, I don't know, but he's definitely skillful, but he doesn't break my top 15. Anyway, up next, I think 11, I don't even remember. Alex Pereira. Now this one might freak people out, because this is also another one where like, bro, he's like knocking people out in the first round. He's like stone cold killer, bro. He knocked out Izzy. He beat Izzy, what, 3-1, 4-1? Yes, I understand. And he's number 2 pound for pound. He's fucking awesome. I think he's the first champion on my list. I don't have much champions on here. But that's adds to why I like him. He's fucking killing these dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like fucking these dudes up. And then he's potentially going to go for 3 belts, and I feel like it's very likely that he could go for 3 belts. And he's one of those stone cold killers, like the guy who's like barely shows emotion. That's like the whole meme around him, right? That he barely shows emotion. But he's actually funny as fuck. Have you seen his Instagram? Have you seen his videos? What's his name? Papa Gio, whatever his name is on Instagram. He's funny. He's a funny dude. And then he makes skits with Nina, and like he's more chill and relaxed than I thought he would. Because look at him. He kind of looks like a grumpy asshole. But then in reality, he's actually a funny, nice guy. Anyway, and also he's a badass. He fucking knocks people out all the time. First round, as much as I hate it, he knocked out my boy Yuri twice, and, deserved wins. Number 10, finally we're breaking into the top 10, is Johnny Walker. Oh, whoops. Wrong Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker. Now, this one might surprise people, because, like, what? Johnny Walker over fucking Alex Pereira? Yes, I know Alex Pereira is more skillful than Johnny Walker, but I've always been calling for it, the Walker resurgence, and unfortunately, it's never gonna fucking happen, especially after that Volkan Oezdemir fucking loss. He's a fun personality. He's, like, such a tall, scary-looking dude, crazy-looking dude, especially when he's weight cutting. He's like, like, holy shit, dude. He looks like a fucking Homo erectus or like a Neanderthal or something. Someone who could just fuck you up. Some primitive being who could just fuck you up. But he's a fun guy, and honestly, he's pretty articulate in his interviews. He doesn't sound as dumb as he looks. Because I know he plays into the meme of being like a caveman or something. But yeah, he's like an articulate dude. His English is pretty well. He's one of the few Brazilian fighters that actually try speaking English. So I respect that. And he's funny. And he does a pretty good job when he's in there. Like, he's like athletically a freak. Like, every time he gets, I don't know how he gets that high when he goes for the jumping knees. It's like, if that landed, someone's dead. You know what I'm saying? So, and he's always an entertaining fighter. He's either knocking someone out or getting knocked out. You know what I'm saying? He's one of those guys, and you love to see it. He's talented. I just don't know what's missing. It's just the chin. That's all. You want him to succeed because he's a fun guy. And he's entertaining. And you want that in a fighter. But it's just his chin. And it sucks. And the Walker resurgence is never going to happen. I'm not saying that keeps him from breaking into like my top 5 or something. I just have more favorites like that I prefer over Johnny Walker. But he's in the top 10. He's number 10. So anyway, on to the next fighter is Yuri Prochazka. And all I put here is Samurai. I feel like that's all you need. But to elaborate, I like the spiritual like intensity that Yuri Prochazka brings to the ring. Like the octagon, my bad. A lot of people are like, oh, these are modern day gladiators. These are modern day warriors. And he treats it like that. Like he's always, like when he said he locked himself in a dark room for 3 days, no light or whatever, no food or water, something like that. Like he takes this seriously. And like he practices in the middle of the forest or something. Like he's that guy. And then when he was outside that one stadium, it was UFC 300 I think he was outside of, and he was manifesting his win just like at 3 a.m. in the morning outside the arena looking up. Like very dramatic, and I love seeing that in the fighter. And I feel like Yuri Prochazka like personifies that to a T. Has such a character around him. Like you would almost think it's fake, but it's legit and real. Like no one else, everyone would accuse their opponent of like taking steroids or whatever, right? Cheating, right? But Yuri over here is just like, I think he's using black magic and shamans. I just want a clean fight. And he means that. He, like, actually means that. Anyway, on to the next one. Alexander Volkanovski. He goated. Fucking, during Volkanovski's title reign, he was, like, probably, after Adesanya, I think he was the second most dominant champion. And I don't know if we're ever going to see one of those. I feel like the closest one is Islam or Pereira. But he was quite dominant. Like, what, the lightweight title? It was vacant to Habib, then Charles, now it's Islam. Bantamweight was Petr Yan, Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley. It's like all these titles are kind of bouncing around. I feel like the era of dominant champions are gone. All the guys, Izzy, Volkanovski, Kamaru Usman, they were active champions too, and that's what we love. We love active champions. We don't like these guys that sit out forever. Leon Edwards, motherfucker. But anyway, he was goated. I felt like he was always skilled, but people love Max so much. They're like, claiming robbery. Oh my God, he got robbed. Okay, let's have the third fight. And then he absolutely destroys Max. And I'm like, holy shit, Volkanovski has always been this guy. He's always been Timothy. I think it wasn't until his Brian Ortega fight that people started giving him credit. But even though he was like beating the shit out of Chad Mendes, I feel like he deserved credit from the beginning. It's just people underrated him because they love Max so much. And that's fine. That's fair. I have my favorite fighters, but obviously, like, come on. Don't underrate another person's skill because your favorite fighter lost. It happens. I almost did it with Arman when he beat Charles Oliveira, but anyway, yeah. Shout out Volkanovski. This man was with the shits. One of my favorite fighters of all time. I mean, he's in my top 10 currently, but all time, he's definitely in there. I forgot what number we're at. Jan Blachowicz is number 7. And as you can tell by my note, underrated at light heavyweight. I feel like I'm going to repeat myself a lot. Underrated, they're funny, they're whatever. But Jan is one of those guys, like, he looks scary. Like, when he beat the shit out of Dominic Reyes and he was screaming, like, he looks scary there. And he's definitely scary with the Polish power and his jiu-jitsu black belt. And you wouldn't expect this guy to be such, like, a little nerdy dork that he is. I mean, of course he's not little. He's, like, what, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2"? One of those. And he fights at 205, so he probably walks around, like, 230 or something. But he talks about, like, video games, talks about The Witcher. I think he talks about Elder Scrolls as well. And during Toriyama's passing, he posted a tribute to Toriyama. And I was like, now he's a Dragon Ball fan, too. I was like, he's a gamer. He's a Dragon Ball fan, which obviously makes him an anime fan. Because I feel like Dragon Ball is the gateway to all the other anime. So he's a cool dude. Like, you wouldn't expect this from this dude. He just looks like a scary fighter who's like, man, I don't, like, he does manlier things, like, I don't know, take an ice bath in, like, a glacier. And he was the only person that went to a split decision with Alex Pereira. Sure, it was at altitude, but both of them were tired. So it was still, like, an even playing field. And he took Pereira down in the first round, that when they were both at, like, closest they could be to 100% cardio-wise, I should have said. But anyway, yeah, I feel like he's underrated, and he's that guy. I feel like he has a good chance against, what's his name? Against Pereira if they ever fight again. So far, the only person to successfully take him down and hold him down. Like, I know Yuri took him down in their first fight, but he didn't like hold him down. And as you can see what happened with Jamal Hill, he didn't even try. A lot of people are doing it, but Jan was the most successful at it. So shout out my boy Jan Blachowicz. I think 7, now 6. Islam Makhachev. We were talking about Islam earlier. He's another one of those pound for pound fighters who are skillful, that are also have a actual marketable personality. This man's fucking funny as shit, dude. When he talks about like Oliveira, he's just like, we don't understand you speak English.
Guys always want to magnify, doesn't speak English. Nobody understands you.
So I'm like, that's fucking funny. I was like, come on, dude. His relationship with Daniel Cormier, they have a lot of funny moments. He's a funny dude. And he's also like a more well-rounded Khabib. He can strike and grapple. As you can see what happened with Dustin Poirier. He was outboxing him in some rounds, and then he submitted him. And I feel like it's about that time we have that conversation. Like my note says, is he the lightweight GOAT? I feel like if you said he was after the Poirier defense, I wouldn't be mad at you. But I personally think we should probably wait for one more title fight. Like if he beats Arman, 100% he's above Khabib in the lightweight GOAT list. And also, he's funny as hell. He's skillful as hell. I like this guy. Islam. At first, I wasn't a fan. I was just like, I didn't really like Khabib like that. I'm not really going to like Islam like that. And it was the case of he was fighting my boy Charles Oliveira. So obviously, I got to ride with my boy no matter what. And then he won, and I was like, man, what the fuck? And then I saw more of Islam, and I was like, you know, I'm not too bad. I'm not too mad that he beat my boy Oliveira. He's a pretty good dude. I like this guy. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out Islam. I think he's number 5. Already lost track. But anyway, he's number whatever, guys. I'll put it on the screen. Next up is Dricus du Plessis. A lot of people are probably going to hate me for this, but shout out my South African fan base, the small fan base I had on that Dricus video. But you got a good one here. You South Africans got a good one right here in Dricus du Plessis. A lot of probably Strickland fans are going to be like, what, fucking Dricus, really, bro? He kisses people on the lips, bro. I'll kiss Dricus on the lips. I don't give a fuck, bro. But anyway, besides that, he has some banger-ass fights, and he beat the shit out of Robert Whittaker. One of, like, the unsung middleweight GOAT, and that was shocking as hell. You can say all you want. A lot of people like to flip their script out. Oh, he was never good, bro. Robert Whittaker was never good. Shut the fuck up, bro. Another reason why I like Dricus du Plessis is because he has this gentleman attitude towards himself. Like, he's very well-spoken. He's articulate. I don't think I've ever seen him, like, scream. Like, even when Strickland was screaming at him, he's like, why are you so angry? And then he said that, like, scathing hot roast. Like, don't fuck with Dricus. He may be, like, a nice guy, but don't fuck with him. And he even said that Strickland had told him in the DMs, like, oh, if you don't say anything again. And he was respectful. He's like, look, I won't say anything about it. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't care. But I won't say it again. I got my point across. Now you understand. And then when he met him in the hotel, he was like, look, man. And, like, shook his hand. He's like, yeah, don't worry. I won't say anything else. He's a gentleman. And then he also said in one of his media day interviews, he said what it means to be what it means to be a true man. I think this was leading up to the Sean Strickland fight. Because, you know, Strickland's all like, this is what it's like to be a man. Shooting guns, riding motorcycles. Yeah, I'm a man. Whatever, you know. Stupid shit. And then Dricus is just like, what it means to be a man is to be an example.
Because that will make him a real man. No, what makes you a real man is being an example and
a true gentleman. I was like, this perfect example of a UFC champion. If you want a UFC champion to, like, represent the sport, be a great ambassador for the sport, and if you want to inspire young kids, because I don't know if the demographic for the UFC isn't necessarily kids, but for, like, investors, like, looking at Dricus in a suit, gentleman, articulate gentleman right here. Oh yeah, perfect example for a fucking UFC champion. This man oozes UFC champion. So now it might sound like I'm glazing. You could call me a glazer in the comments. I don't care, whatever. But it's true. You got to admit it. It's true. He's a gentleman, and he's a perfect example. He's always trying to do the best he can, and he can talk shit if he wants to. Like, don't fuck with Dricus. He might be a nice guy, but don't fuck with him. He'll fuck with you back. Anyway, up next, I'm just going to say number 4. We'll just do that. Max Holloway. And obviously, come on, do I have to say much? It's Max, bro. Max Holloway, he's a veteran in this game. He started really young. He's still going. He's been a fucking featherweight champion how many times? I don't even fucking know. He's likely to become a featherweight champion again against Ilia Topuria. and he beat the shit out of fucking Justin Gaethje, silenced the haters, and won the BMF belt. He's kind of him, bro.
All I gotta say, I'm him. I'm him, guys.
Yes, you are, bro. Himothy, bro. Max Himothy Holloway, bro. Isn't his name like Jerome Max Holloway? Isn't his first name Jerome? Should be changed it to Himothy, bro. But yeah, Max is that guy. I've always liked Max. He's always been in my top 10 favorite fighters. Ever since he popped on the scene, ever since I started watching his fights. Even when I was a casual, I always knew who Max was. Max Holloway's that guy. And I want to see him get the featherweight title again. And I want to see him chase for a lightweight title. Shout out Max Holloway. I don't really got to say much. Next one. I think this is 3. It is 3. My boy, Gilbert Burns. I fucking love Gilbert Burns. And he's another one of those guys where he's like skilled. And he's kind of on a time limit. He's 38. And usually when people get up in age, it's hard for them to compete with these younger guys. But he's still up there. Like, sure, he lost to Jack Della Maddalena. But he was winning that fight before he got fucked up. Obviously, you can say that with everyone. They were winning before they lost. I understand. But he was skillful enough to compete with Maddalena, who's obviously a top guy. He's a BMF. He's like the definition of what a BMF is. Anytime, anywhere, any place, fucked up for him as well. He's that guy, bro. I love fucking Gilbert Burns. And he's funny. He has that podcast, the Show Me the Money podcast. Another one of these guys who's funny. But he's entertaining. He has a good personality. He's not just like, oh, I want to fight. I want to fight everybody. I want to fight. No, he's like a funny guy. He cracks jokes. Like when they were talking about, what's his name? The guy Joaquin Buckley fought. But I'll put the clip up here when Gilbert Burns was just...
That's too much finish. He was fighting.
Brother,
he was fighting the guys.
I'm telling you.
He was fighting the construction guys in Uzbekistan, bro.
He doesn't do anything outrageous to like be a bad example. He's a perfect ambassador for the sport. If you want to be like, what does it mean to be a UFC fighter? It means to be a killer, but also like a genuine, decent person in the world. Like I said, he's another one of those guys where you want to see him win. But I don't know. Who's he fighting? Sean Brady? I think he's going to get that fight. But I also thought he was going to get the Maddalena fight. We'll see what happens. I can only hope my boy Gilbert Burns wins. Anyway, on to my next fighter. Second favorite fighter currently is Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. Come on. He's also a veteran in this game. He's been in this game for a long time. I think, since he was 20? Bro's been in here forever. Most submissions in the UFC. Most submissions and most finishes? I don't remember. I know he has the most submissions. That's my boy Charles Oliveira. No one wants to fuck with him on the ground. Gaethje didn't want it. Chandler kind of wanted it. Fucking Poirier didn't even want it. He tried, but Oliveira fucking him up. The only one was Islam, and that's what I was saying. Islam got that mystique. They're both in my top 10 favorite fighters. Islam's creeping up there. I don't know if he'll ever pass my boy Oliveira, because his story, I made a fucking made a video essay of him on my channel, so this might be surprising that he's my second favorite. He was up. I feel like there was a point in time where he would have been number 1, but I feel like he's kind of reaching that coasting point where, like I said, like, I don't want to say he phoned it in against Arman, but I could tell, like, his, like, drive to prove himself wasn't there. Like he was when he fought Beneil Dariush. He fucked him up. I feel like it's not there. And now he's talking about fighting McGregor or potentially going up to welterweight. So I feel like going up to welterweight will reignite that spark in him. And he's like, yes. Maybe he realizes that Islam is an unwinnable fight for him. Maybe he sees more winnable matchups. And you know what? That takes a lot in a fighter to admit. So props to Oliveira for that. Been in the game forever. His championship run was absolutely incredible. Also one of those dramatic fighters like Yuri. He's playing Brazilian gospel music when he walks out. While he was weight cutting, his whole team was surrounding him. They all dyed their hair blonde, just like him. He's intense, bro. Fucking love this man, Oliveira. Anyway, the moment you all been waiting for, my number 1 favorite fighter currently. Who is it? Drum roll, guys. Please play the drum roll. It is Robert Whittaker. We fucking talked about him earlier in the list. I feel like it's always been Robert Whittaker, Charles Oliveira is my 1 and 2. Like when Charles Oliveira during his fucking Linsanity run, where he was just on a fucking insane streak, he was definitely above Robert Whittaker. But Robert Whittaker was right there. I don't think Robert Whittaker has ever fallen out of my top 2. He's like what's his name? Jan, where like I wouldn't say he's underrated. I feel like he's perfectly rated because he proves himself, and I feel like people see that Like when he lost to Izzy the first time and went on that fucking tear to get a rematch. And then he kind of went on a second tear and then it got kind of derailed by, no, the Marvin Vettori fight was before the rematch, I think. No, it was after. But yeah, he went on like another mini tear and the people were like, Max Holloway of the middleweight division, can we justify a third one just like we did with Max and Volk? And it was possible. We're like, yeah, the first 2 matches were so fucking close. Some people claim Rob won. I think he won the second match. Lucas Tracy thinks he won the second match. So there's like argument like, can we get a third one? And then Izzy lost, and then Robert lost to the new wave. And then he went in there, had a fucking brawl with Paulo Costa. Obviously, because he said he wanted to prove to himself. He was like, can I stay in there with these physical specimens? And he showed that he could. He almost got knocked out. A lot of people say Robert Cheney Whitaker. But he showed us that, like, a lot of people were like, oh, Paulo Costa doesn't hit that hard. It was a fucking spinning wheel kick. That would decapitate anybody. And he's also, like, a killer. But he's, an entertaining dude. Like, in his interviews, people are like, how many Robs would it take to beat Francis Ngannou? And then he gave, like, an in-depth analytical answer. And then also, the Ikram fight, bro. I was almost getting a little nervous. I was a Robert Whitaker fan, and I was just like, Robert's going to take this. And then I was just like, man, but... Because everyone was saying, like, I don't know, it might be close. It might be really close. He's chinny. Ikram has how many first-round finishes? I'm like, damn. I almost fell into it. I was just like, damn. I was like, what if... I went from 100% Rob winning to, like, 85% Rob winning. But I'm like, no, my boy's still going to get it. And I didn't know he was going to knock him out. I did not expect Robert Whitaker to knock out Ikram. I thought it was going to be like a dominant 5-rounder like he did against Kelvin Gastelum. But no, he fucking starched him. And I was like, yes, Robert, he's the Reaper, bro. He reaps all these people's fucking souls, bro. Shout out Robert Whitaker. But anyway, that is my top favorite UFC fighters currently. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, do whatever the fuck you want. But let me know in the comments if you disagree with my opinions. Or let me know who your favorite fighters are. I'm always down to start a discussion, as you can see in my Cyril Gahn video. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.